All right, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing time so far. Our next speaker is Roshni Uppala. She is a senior product manager at Amazon Alexa. Please join me in welcoming Roshni to our virtual stage.
Thank you for inviting me and having me over at AI4. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So today I'd like to talk to you about AV cars, the transformative effect on our lives. When I was first asked to talk at AI4 conference for the automotive track, I wondered what would a crowd full of folks who are experts in building AI products would like to know. So you all are experts in AI and in some or the other way. So today, I'm not here to tell you about how AI models work, how algorithms work, how AV cars are built or perceived or they operate. Instead, I'm going to really try to inspire you to think about the future of autonomous cars by posing so many questions. I'm sure you will think very differently when you leave from here. Remember, in 1983, there were like two widely popular shows that helped us envision a future state of AI-infused cars. One on the left is a self-driving Herbie car that would participate in car races. And to the right, a Knight Rider, which would famously talk like Alexa to the driver and operate in driverless mode. Remember, this was all envisioned in 1983. And if you're not familiar with them, go check out YouTube videos. They're really cool. We have come a long, long way since then. After 40 years today, we have almost all known car manufacturers either working towards a self-driving car or already have launched one. Some are also going further and building a fully autonomous cars, which I like to call them as AV cars, that no longer require driver supervision like in a self-driving vehicle. So I believe autonomous cars will undoubtedly be the next big thing. It'll be a norm in our lives. AI is here in many forms around us already, and so will autonomous cars. And AV cars will be a part of our everyday boring lives before we know it. Just like our smartphones today. Do you ever leave your home without your smartphone? Nerial, a famous Silicon Valley tech author of the book Hooked, How to Build Habit-Forming Products, said that 79% of smartphone owners check their device within 15 minutes of waking up every morning. Can you believe that? Smartphone evolution changed how our behaviors, habits in our everyday life. We developed unique relationships with our smartphones, which we never envisioned before them. So for those of you who own a car or travel in a car, I have some news for you. There is going to be another revolution in our lives. That is going to be an AV car revolution, one that's AI infused, fully autonomous, which is at the near horizon. You know what's common between the smartphone and the AV revolutions? Our relationships with them. We, as humans, build relationships with our devices, thereby changing our experiences with them and opening us to different world possibilities. But here is the catch. Autonomous cars and humans don't speak the same language. And unlike a smartphone, you would travel in an AV car and not with it. Have you ever been the one telling your Uber driver to pull over to an intersection early? Perhaps you saw a flower shop on the way and you want to take some flowers home for your mom. Or maybe when you are riding with your spouse in the car and he's driving, you provide passenger seat instructions. Go slow, go fast, stop, stop, stop. I forgot something at home. I certainly do that often with my husband and he hates it. Ever wondered how would you tell this to a driverless autonomous car? What if you were feeling sick? What if you were traveling with a kid who needs to stop over for restroom? This cartoon is one of my favorite. Here, the person is trying to figure out what the AV car is about to do, and the AV car is unable to communicate with that person. How would it? It talks in bits. So the confusion increases within the human and AV interaction, where in this picture, they just decide to sit and reflect on their actions. Now think about the interactions with police officers. Maybe you're riding in your AV car through another state and your AV car accidentally sped through while you were taking a nap. How would it know? Maybe the rules have changed. How would you communicate with the police officer? What information you would need to know when you were not actively involved in that environment? We all agree, the more the passengers in an AV car are informed, the better trust is built. But what about the passenger's experience? Do they need to know all the thousands of information that the AV car processes in a second? What information is important? How should it be given to the passenger? Will passengers in an AV car need to communicate with other road users? Maybe the kids who are crossing the walkways? They wouldn't know if it's an AV car. How would they know? What if you were reading a book and you didn't notice? Remember, we're talking about AV cars here, not self-driving, one that needs no driver supervision. Do you need to be able to establish some sort of communication with road users? Lastly, and this is something I feel like this is going to happen just like it happened with smartphone evolution. We will develop some new habits and behaviors. Some new experiences are going to unlock with AV cars. Maybe your AV car is your meeting space. Maybe you take a nap. Maybe it's a place where you are kind of playing video games. I would totally use one for like a woman's cave. Maybe one of that is a movable nursery to help calm your baby, or a place where you are playing with dogs. But autonomous cars don't feel, humans do. We take meetings, they don't. It doesn't affect what the algorithm does. But these experiences in cabin are required to be built so that AVs are usable by humans in ways that are very different from today's traditional traveling experience in your car. So we need to really rethink that the car experience from the ground up, and one that is useful with an AV car. For example, we need to rethink our navigation experience inside an AV car. Things like route awareness, traffic notices. It needs to be more naturalistic as you're in the car and trying to understand the environment in a situational context. We are already making some good progress in technology, and I believe that is going to be infused with an AV car. Like, for example, we have voice-based Alexa in cars today, as well as large touchscreens that you would see in Tesla to deliver that. How would it be with AV cars that's processing tons of information? Is the answer more devices in the car? Is the answer more voice assistants in the car? Safety. Today, we have airbags designed for all forward seating vehicles. Now, forward seating is not going to be a norm. It's not going to be a requirement as we go to fully autonomous cars. What happens for AV cars when they don't need that requirement? You have to rethink airbags. You need to rethink interior layout. You need to rethink about how passengers would enter and exit. How would it work for disability? How would it work for kids? Today, I believe that entertainment is still limited in traditional cars with forward-facing driver type configuration. With AV car, which doesn't require constant driver monitoring, all this changes. It opens up a completely new avenue. You're no longer limited to the structural rigid configurations inside the car. Maybe you have experiences to engage to watch movies together, or movies within the cars if you're traveling as a big group, or if you're having kids and you need to have those VR experiences or gaming experiences. Comfort. Today, the auto industry is heavy on comfort. I believe this will continue to grow, especially as we start to think about autonomous cars as our modifiable, personalized interiors. Along with that, you also need to think about how you reduce motion sickness. Do you want to be able to convert your car into like your living room? Why not? And then think about all the new experiences you would unlock. Just like with smartphones, when it came out, you didn't know you would actually sit and watch YouTube videos on your phone. That never happened. But think about all the new experience that you would unlock with an AV car. Will you develop new shopping experiences? Will you want your car to generate revenue for you? What about when cars start to talk to each other? At the end, driverless will not mean humanless. These cars will still need to transport people, even if they're not driving in them. It's important we start to think about the changes AV cars will bring to our behaviors and our relationships. I don't doubt at all that the technology will be there, but we haven't really given a thought to how that experience is going to matter for us. To those of you in the audience, I hope you were inspired with at least one question here, because we really need to start building the AV car experience for all of us starting today. Thank you.
Wow, Roshni, thank you so much. That was amazing. And I know this virtual audience is giving you a huge virtual round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you sharing your insights today. For the audience, it's time for you to make your way to your next session. Along the way, make sure you accept your connection request and take some time to check out our awesome exhibits. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around.
Bye.